So the focus and directrix of a parabola, what do they tell me? Something that you need to know before we can go too deep into this lesson, you need to be able to distinguish between a vertical line and a horizontal line. So a vertical line runs top to bottom, a horizontal line runs left to right. But even more importantly, you need to know the equation of a vertical line. So it's kind of confusing. People forget that they've learned this before. But the equation for a vertical line is x equals a number. And people get confused by that because vertical, you think y. And so it's surprising to a lot of people that the equation for a vertical line is x equals 4, x equals 10, x equals -1. But it's true. So look for that x equals to describe a vertical line. So not surprisingly, a horizontal line is described by y equals a number. Y equals a number. So y equals 4, y equals 20, y equals -17. All of those would describe horizontal lines, which again is surprising because you associate y with vertical. However, when it's describing a line, y equals a number is a horizontal line. If this seems like a very long time ago that you learned this, you might want to check out this Khan Academy video here. It's linked right in the slide. It might help you out. So we are going to move on, and I'm going to take a look at what can you tell if you were given the focus and the directrix of a parabola, and you're asked to find the vertex and to write the equation. So first thing we want to do, we want to go ahead and plot the focus and the directrix. So -3, 2, I count -3, 3 to the left and up 2, and I plot my focus. And then I want to plot the directrix. So y equals 8. So y equals 8, that is going to be a horizontal line. The way I remember it is 8 is where the line crosses the y-axis. So I count up 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I think it should go right there. So we are all set to go. We've got our focus and our directrix. Now we need to figure out where the vertex goes. You might remember way back when we first started talking about parabolas, if you go back to the very first overview video, you might recall that the vertex is the midpoint between the focus and the directrix. So if we count from the focus up to the directrix, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this distance is 6. If the vertex is the midpoint, that means that it is halfway between the two, or 3 units up from the focus. So in this case, it would be at -3, that's the x coordinate, -3, -3, 5. Okay? And we know that the parabola never, ever crosses the directrix. And it opens towards the focus like it's gobbling it up, right? So it's going to look something like that. Not exactly, but something like that. We know that to find the equation, we need to find p. We need to find the value for p. And the value for p can be found by counting from the vertex to the focus. So we're counting down, so that's a negative. So 1, 2, 3. So p equals -3. Now we need to kind of process all of the information that we have here. We've got a parabola that opens down. We know the vertex, and we know p. So let's see what we can figure out to write this equation. If it opens down, looking at my formula sheet, I can see that if a parabola opens down, I'm going to use this form of the equation, x minus h squared equals 4p times y minus k. And I know what I'm going to plug in for h and k. For h, -3, for k, 5. Now I need to figure out, and I have my value for p is -3, so I can say x minus -3, which is x plus 3 squared, equals, and 4 times -3, because p is -3, is -12 y minus 5. So that would be the equation for my parabola, and I would be done. Vertex, the midpoint between the focus and the directrix, and P is the value counting from the vertex to the focus. Okay, it opens down, so we know that we can expect a -P. So let's take a look at the next one. If I'm going too quickly, benefit of the video is you can always stop it and go back and listen to it again. So this time we're told that the focus is at -5. So I count over -5, -4. So now I need to go down 4. These squares are kind of small for my old lady eyes and my not so great pen, but okay, so we're marking our focus here. I'll make it an X so it looks like I did that on purpose. Okay, and my directrix is X equals -7. So that tells me it's a vertical line. It crosses the X-axis at -7. So I count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So hopefully that is in the right place. So my directrix, this is X equals -7. And this focus is plotted here at -5, -4. So what am I going to do to find my vertex? Again, I know that the vertex is the midpoint between the focus and the directrix. So the focus and directrix are only 2 units apart. So I know that my vertex must be that midpoint 1 unit away, 1 unit away from the vertex. So I'm sorry, 1 unit away from the focus. So we know that it is at -6, -4. So our vertex is -6, -4. We know that the parabola never, ever, ever crosses the directrix, and it opens towards the focus like it's going to gobble it up. So we end up with a parabola that opens to the right, looking like this. Well, if I go to my pink formula sheet, that tells me that a parabola that opens right is going to have this form of the equation. Y minus k equals 4p x minus h. Okay? And remember, the h stays with the x, the k stays with the y. A lot of times people get confused and they want to put the x coordinate in here with the y because it comes first. We don't do that. The k stays with the y, h stays with the x. So how am I going to plug that in? What goes in for k? So it's y minus -4. So y plus 4 squared equals, and we know that what goes in next to the x is going to be the h, so the -6. So x plus 6 minus -6. Now we need to figure out what we're doing with this 4p outside of the parentheses. So how are we going to find p? We're going to count from the vertex. We always start at the vertex, count to the focus. So this is a positive. We're going to the right. So we count 1 over, and we find out that p equals 1. So 4 times 1 equals 4. So my equation is y plus 4, quantity squared, equals 4 times, parentheses, x plus 6, close parentheses. And there you have it. This is a little bit more complicated, but still just a basic application of the formula sheet, and it's consistent. Opening to the right, we've got the y as our squared variable, and I think it looks great.